So, Andrew, we're in Cardiff,
Yes.
Modular Synth Meet. This is your vintage DNA, your AJH synth system, right?
Absolutely, yes. Yes, it's based on the original Moog Model D. We've basically taken the circuitry of the Model D and replicated it exactly into Eurorack format. So we went for the very early oscillator and the earlier ladder filter, and we spent 18 months just on development to try and absolutely nail the sound of the original Model D. It's all of the circuitry in it is discrete transistors. There are no op amps whatsoever in the signal path, which is one of the reasons that the Model D is so sought after by vintage synth enthusiasts now. And we just thought that wouldn't it be nice to be able to have that sound, but with the open modulation possibilities of Eurorack, so that instead of it being in a closed system, for the first time, you can think, well, what would a MiniMod be like with 6 VCOs? Well, you can try it. What would it sound like with a different filter? Yes, it's possible, with more modulation possibilities.
So you could buy all the individual parts discreetly, can you?
Yes, the modules are all available individually. So we have the VCO, which it's, as I say, this is the very early VCO from the RA Moog model, which he only produced about 250 MiniMods with that particular VCO because they found that it was impossible to keep it in tune. Well, we've addressed the temperature stability problems with it, but we still have the exact sound of that original VCO. The filter again is an exact emulation of the Model D ladder filter, so that in there we have full discrete transistor ladder. And one of the interesting things with the MiniMod ladder, as opposed to the Moog Modular, was that there was actually a designer, there was an error in calculation when they first made it, and they accidentally overdrove the thing by 15 to 20 dB. And this was discovered after a month or two. And they all decided that, well, no one had noticed and people actually like the sound of it, so let's just leave it as is.
It's interesting, isn't it, that way that has shaped an entire sound, isn't it?
Absolutely. I mean, that's it went on to become the seminal synth sound of the 1970s and what have you.
Are you able to not do that in your version of it, if you see what I mean? So you can not drive the filter so hard if you want?
Very simple, very easy, not to overdrive the filter out. All you do is just turn the levels down. Yeah.
So are you utilising, because it's very much the thing now, isn't it, to give your filters variable drive inputs, even in standalone synthesizers as well?
Yeah, I mean, this actually, the filter and the VCA both have jumpers on them, so you can pull the jumper on them, and you can actually make it behave even more badly than it does as standard. So it will overdrive even more. And with the VCA. One thing that we did with the VCA, the original Model D actually has 2 VCAs, but they were cascaded in series, and the second VCA was only actually used for the foot controller, so that it was normalised fully open. So it really wasn't used in most cases. But we took the design and I added a gain jumper to it and a master volume control, so that you can overdrive it. You can seriously overdrive it in a similar way to the inspiration for that really was the guitar amps, where you have a master volume and you can really overdrive the first stage of the
So
VCA.
how do you handle the voltages? Are you using Eurorack standard voltage, or are you using the Moog standard control voltage for the oscillators? The only way to capture the sound really is to have it so that all of the signals throughout all of the circuitry work at the correct core levels that the original synthesizer did. So that, for example, the VCO, the outputs on the VCOs, I think it's 1.7 volts peak to peak, whereas we work on 5 volts peak to peak on Eurorack. So what we do there,
although this is all of the circuitry of the Model D, in reality, more than 50% of the circuitry of this synthesizer is of our own design, which has been added to integrate this into Eurorack. So that with the VCO, what we do is we've actually added an output stage to it, which uses it actually uses a Pro Audio op amp and very, very low distortion. But that brings the levels up to Eurorack levels, and it then goes to the filter, and we drop the levels right down again, run it through the filter, and then we bring them up to Eurorack levels again. We have all of the Model D waveforms available, but one thing that we did with it on the original, on the square wave, there's one square wave and two pulse waves, which were just fixed pulse widths. We've replaced that with a PWM control, so the pulse width is continually variable. And we've also added voltage control to that as well.
And you've got the classic shark fin wave as well.
Absolutely, yes, yeah. It wouldn't be a Model D without that.
So in terms of, I mean, obviously, I'm guessing to get all of this stuff into Eurorack format, how deep are the modules? I mean, what are we talking? Do you need any kind of difference in casing to be able to hold them? Are they?
No, we've. That's really why we were forced into using SMT technology to make them rather than through-hole. If we'd made them using traditional through-hole methods, we would have had to stack the PCBs probably 3 deep in order to get the amount of components that are needed into that form factor. By using SMT, we can get it. In the case of the filter, the contour and the VCA, they're all just on a single board, and the VCO is actually 2 boards. It has a front panel board and a main board.
And in terms of making a basic Model D structure, what kind of price point have you tried to put them at? I mean, obviously, a Model Ds are insanely expensive.
Yes.
Somewhat less, maybe.
Yes. The good news is it's cheaper. In terms of price point, UK prices, the silver panel VCO retails at £245. The filter is £195. The contour generators, which is a dual contour generator, is £195. VCA is £145, and the glide and noise module is £155.
So there are black ones and silver ones here. Is there a difference in flavour, or is it just purely livery?
It's cosmetic. We originally launched the system in silver, and a lot of our customers came along and said, I really love this vintage sound that you've got, but please can you make it look like it's vintage too? So we went away and we designed the black modules, which have proved very, very popuble.
And they're somewhat reminiscent of the C systems as well, aren't they? So I suppose.
Yes, absolutely. So it's available in 2 colourways, but the difference is purely cosmetic. In terms of electronics, they're identical.
And the price is the same for the 2 sorts?
No, the black modules are slightly more expensive.
Yeah, they've got different knob caps, haven't they?
Yes, the knobs are more expensive. The panels themselves are more expensive because of the layout. Yeah.
So obviously you've modelled this. I mean, presumably, as we know, there's a big trend in reboots at the moment. I mean, have you got any other synths in your sites that you'd like to
We have,
to work
yes. On? Yeah, we do have a couple of synths, but
you'd have to kill me.
Absolutely, yes. Yes.
So where can people mostly get your stuff? Are they available at most dealers? How's the distributorship?
Yes, it's in the UK. It's available from most modular synth stores. Obviously available from ourselves direct as well. In Europe, we're now being distributed by a company called Alex4, who distribute extensively in
connected
Europe.
with Schneider's, aren't they? Yeah.
Yes, yeah. They distribute several other brands throughout Europe. Also, in America, we have Analog Haven, Detroit Modular, Perfect Circuits.
How are you doing? Are you building them here or assembling them here, or they? I mean, as with most people, have to get stuff done overseas. How are you?
These are actually manufactured completely in the UK. We build them. They are handmade We don't contract out assembly. We actually hand place the components on the circuit boards. So it's quite a laborious process. And one of the things that we intend to do at some point in the future is actually to do a video showing of how they're made, actually documenting the hand building process that's involved in them.
Great, thank you very much. Perhaps if you've got a couple more, I'd love to listen to some raw waves if you've got some of those.
Yeah, sure. So these are just basic sawtooth, one string open filter. So that's just a single sawtooth, and then if we add another, you hear the real fatness that the discrete transistor oscillators have, and then you can add a third VCO in, and it starts getting ridiculously fat.
So I imagine quite a challenge is getting multiple oscillators to scale the calibration of that side. It always seems to be quite a challenge.
It's easier now than it used to be. Let's put it that way. We use some quite expensive precision op amps on the control voltage side of the VCOs, and obviously they're temperature corrected as well. But we've tried to do that without taking away the very character that makes them popular in the first place. It's easy to sanitize it to the point where you kill the sound. So the balance really was in keeping the big fat sound, but still having it so that it's usable in a musical context.
Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you.